It is a mad day. I've talked about the fact that, um, well, let's start over a little bit, okay? Let's just edit a little bit. First of all, I can hear. I wasn't around Saturday, took a little bit of a break. Yes, I say so with slight conviction. It was my birthday. Thanks to all of you who reached out via the so-called social media. And I appreciate the acknowledgement because I frankly, like a lot of people, you get to a certain age, you don't care about it. A lot of you have read, a lot of you have yourselves turned a certain age, you don't really care about your birthday. I mean, it happens. Do you want to slightly semi whatever acknowledge it? Well, of course, because it's your birthday. Okay. We could take a little time out and acknowledge it and all that. I frankly, it's sort of a catch 22 because, it's a birthday. So it happens once a year. Again, if you're younger and you talk about it or if you acknowledge it, okay. If you get older, you tend to want to kind of run along and say goodbye. And we'll see you in another 364 days, that kind of a thing. So, anyway, enough about that. Uh, Today's a mad day, and I've purposely tried to ignore it because I've had such a wacky 4, 5, 6 months, really about 5 years, because I had symptoms that were involved. But with the surgery and the leave of absence, as I try to diplomatically call it, I haven't really talked much about the media, the Super Bowl, and all that. And it's just kind of gross, right? That's all they talk with all the news. Most of it very negative, very depressing, quite frankly. Everything from the stuff that happened on Friday with Trump and his ridiculously stupid thing reposting about the Obamas and the apes and all that stuff, the ongoing tragedy, and we don't know what the outcome is going to be, having to do with Savannah Guthrie. She, of course, is the NBC Today Show hostess, whose mother was, I don't get that story. It's something that we don't know about. There is something missing, not just that it's a kidnap for ransom and all the gooey details that we all like to kind of sit around the tube and watch and other streaming networks and try to figure this whole thing out. We're not being either told. There's a lot of details that we have yet to learn of, yada, yada, yada. This is where yada, yada, yada makes sense. So we have that. We have the oncoming war like setting taking place near Iran. Um, and there's a couple of other things. Oh, the Super Bowl. So I'm going to watch it. I'm not going to really pay close attention to it. I deliberately avoided talking about it because what is there to talk about? It's a media orgy party where they talk about themselves. They literally take part in their own kind of model and event, or what they view as something quite extraordinary, that most of the American people, they're going to watch the game. And some of them are going to watch the game to watch the game, in and out of parties. And then there's going to be a contingent of people who want to see what's going to happen at halftime when Bad Bunny performs. And you know what? Frankly, it's going to be a political show, which I don't give a damn about. Same way I feel about Kid Rock, who is just as gory as, I don't know, you're talking music wise. It's a mad day, folks. Super Bowl. You know, and this is common sense. Now, I don't know if this is going to happen, but it should happen. You got a massive audience at the end of the game. Why, and this may change, why NBC Bay Area doesn't do a prime time newscast with Raj Mathai and Janelle Yang and or Jessica. God, I all of a sudden forgot her last name. Boy, am I losing it. Aguirre. How can I lose that name? The Joker, Jessica Aguirre. Now, again, at the end of the game, there's networks. They have the feed for about 30 minutes, and then it's your turn. That's a tremendous lead into whatever. And smart people prepare for this, and they have their own newscast and take advantage of the amazing lead in. Now, this all may change, but at press time, broadcast time, I didn't hear anything that a primetime newscast with the aforementioned Raj and Jessica or whomever was going to commence 30 minutes after the game. Well, what better way to showcase your Hallmark newscast than to have them on following the Super Bowl? Probably will change, but don't hold your breath. What else is going on? So, it's funny because and we've talked about this before, not so much here, but the weather has been extraordinary this week. It is the proverbial Chamber of Commerce weather. The East Coast is frigid, as it seems like it's been since the beginning of winter, with snowstorms and cold Arctic air masses permeating the entire Atlantic corridor, Massachusetts, New York, Connecticut, Vermont, Pennsylvania, the whole schmear, right? And we have such beautiful, glorious weather. And that usually is the case. If they're frigid and having horrific weather, we're usually having really good weather. And these weather guys locally are orgasmic. They're like touching themselves. Oh, we got a change in the jet stream coming midweek. Good. Isn't that great? You could talk about something. You could actually start to rekindle thoughts of real weather. And it's not even real weather when you compare it to what's happening in the East Coast with the blizzards and the snow and the cold and all that. Again, it's a pattern in California. It's a pattern. Now, in the early part of the year, we had a lot of rain. Remember the Rose Bowl? It never rains on the Rose Bowl. Well, it did this year. And there was rain and mudslides in Southern California was abroad by rain and all that. So they had something to talk about even down in Los Angeles. Um, and nowadays, everybody gets all frantic if, God forbid, we have 3 weeks of the kind of weather that we've been having and the kind of weather that most people love. We don't have water for a while. We have vast amounts of water, be it the Pacific Ocean or the reservoirs, which have been pretty much full since that December deluge of rain and all that. They don't talk about that. Drives me crazy. Okay. Um, what else is going on? This is a mad, mad day because it's the Super Bowl. Thank God it's over with. We say that every year, particularly when it's in your own backyard. All right. Little personal stories. I didn't do a show Saturday, not because of the fact that it was my birthday. You know what my birthday was? How about 8 hours going to a hospital and trying to get treatment for I have a wax buildup. I'm not going to get too, specific, but just use your own imagination. And your ears feel like crap. And it's the greatest feeling. It's basically like, think of your greatest feeling. When they deluge your ear canal with whatever they put in, and then they take out the wax. I have that issue. I'm not going to embed you with a whole lot of information. I had to get it done. I didn't know what to do. Couldn't find a urgent care facility. So I ended up going to a hospital. And no, it's not life and death. I didn't say it's life and death. I just told them, look, what do I do? And they said, just get down here. And it's a Saturday. So what am I supposed to do? And they are just ill equipped to handle situations like this. I'm not going to go into details. I finally got it handled. And without going into a big to do detail, oh my God. Um, so, uh, came home at about 5 o'clock, had a decent dinner, nothing spectacular, and that was that. I'm sure most of you got along and so forth. I watched that new CNN program, and I've seen it, and I've actually very, very complimentary of it. Have I got news for you? It's very funny. The writing is fantastic. The performers, I call them performers, there's a moderator and then these comedians, and then they had on the senator from California, Adam Schiff was on, and a few other people whose name I don't recall. Moves along, it's fast and furious, and yes, entertaining. So I saw that. I missed the Friday Bill Maher real time show, and that was good. Got to see Chris Christie. Oh, and an interview where he does the sit down with a particular guest, and it was John Cougar Mellencamp, who is an interesting guy. He's had some battles and all that, and he doesn't do drugs. And he made a highlight of talking about that, which I found to be refreshing, right? And he talked about his performances, and I love John Cougar Mellencamp. Who doesn't? And Pink Houses and Jack and Diane. He's got a whole listry of laundry list. Listry? Wow. Laundry list of hits and stories, and he's going on tour again. And what a performer. Enjoyed that. Bill Maher, who I hate and simultaneously admire. He just turned 70, which is not old anymore. But yeah, Maher was particularly good when they do the panel portion of the program. It was rebroadcast on CNN. I do get HBO, but watched it on CNN, and that was interesting. Got to see his good comedicness, thanks to writers and all that. So that was fun. Today, as I keep saying, it's a mad, mad day. It's Super Bowl Sunday. We're going to hear about everything. The game might be secondary, and everybody's kind of poo-pooed the game, which I now think will probably be one of the great games because everybody's kind of poo-pooed it. We know about Bad Bunny, and he's going to talk about politics. So expect that. And then the Trumps will get onto it. And then there'll be a lot of back and forth. And we have this alternative halftime show orchestrated by Kid Rock, who I think is a putz. I don't really care about his politics. It has nothing to do with politics, but there's that. And what else do we have? We have the ongoing situation with Nancy Guthrie and all that. Again, bizarre, tragic, disturbing. Fill in your own metaphor. That's what that is. What else do we got going? It's a crazy day. I may later on, and I know I plugged this the other night about doing a show on, when was it? Friday. I didn't do a show Friday night, and I apologize, but the ear thing. Try walking around when both ears feel plugged up. And that's what I was. Finally got it handled. God, I feel like I've had 2 new ears installed. I can hear. It is February the 8th, 2026. We're already a week and a couple of days into the second month. God, it's just going way too fast. We'll break some stories this week. We'll analyze and talk about various coverages with regards to CNN and Fox and NBC. And we also talk local news. There's a lot going on there too. So I will take a momentary break, a lunch break, as we get ready to watch the game. Screw you, CBS. The Super Bowl. Sue me. Super Bowl, and NFL. Excuse me. Screw you, NFL. Stay tuned.